The universe began with the Big Bang, and for a time, after that, there was nothing but extremely hot matter shooting out in every direction at the speed of light. However, the first star quickly appeared. Its name was Methuselah, and for a long time it puzzled astronomers and even A's, making them believe it could be older than the universe itself, an idea that caused extreme confusion. Soon after that, on a cosmic scale, the first black holes began to form. Scientists believe they were the remnants of exploded stars, although to this day no one is completely certain. At the same time, cosmic dust and matter started to ionize, helping new stars form. Eventually thousands, and then millions, of stars emerged in space. The universe, which had cooled after the Big Bang, now began to heat up again. Around 100 million years after the Big Bang, stars began to cluster together into what we now call galaxies. However, planets had not yet appeared in these early galaxies. It was still too soon for matter to form anything large and solid. Therefore, the first galaxies mainly consisted of stars and interstellar gas. It is believed that the oldest galaxies came from a very small region known as the Hubble Ultra-Deep Field, named after the Hubble Space Telescope. That deep field contains more than 10,000 galaxies. After some time, the first exoplanet was born. It was also called Metis, because of its extremely old age. This planet orbits two stars at once and lies about 12.5 million light-years from Earth's current position. Not long after that, the Milky Way finally began to take shape. A galaxy is a barred spiral, meaning it has a bar-shaped center and several arms. On one of these arms, the solar system would one day be born, though at that time, it was nothing more than a round cloud of gas and dust. The Milky Way began forming roughly 200 million years after the Big Bang, similar to many other galaxies, but it became familiar to us only through the rise of modern science. At the same time, millions of other galaxies appeared, each containing many stars and planets gathering together. Around 11.5 billion years ago, a special planet emerged. Cat, the oldest known exoplanet, eerily similar to Earth in almost every way. No one knows whether life exists there, but it probably does. It has had plenty of time for life to develop. Spiral galaxies are the most common type today, and perhaps the oldest known spiral is PS4442, located 10.7 billion light-years away. During this era, the rate of star formation across the universe reached its peak. Countless stars formed every second, attracting one another, gathering into clusters, and eventually forming galaxies. At this time, the universe's temperature began gradually dropping. It was still hotter than the surface of the sun and very dense. But starting around 11 billion years ago, everything changed. Galactic cores and newborn stars no longer emitted as much energy into space. The first metal-rich stars began to appear. Metals allowed them to cool faster, making the universe more suitable for life. Less than 10 billion years before humans arrived, the first galaxy clusters formed, such as GKC SO41, the most distant known galaxy cluster. It formed around 200 million years after the Big Bang, when the universe was only 1/3 of its current size. But on a cosmic scale, 200 million years is only a moment. Around the same time, Star Bennu appeared in the Milky Way. It is one of the oldest stars in our galaxy and happens to be a close neighbor, only 6 light-years from the Sun. As the universe continued to expand, the Milky Way kept growing and began to take on its recognizable shape. Around 8.8 billion years ago, it existed as a thick disk of structure surrounding the center, home to older stars and dense gas. Soon a thin disk began forming inside it, containing younger metal-rich stars. Star formation remained intense, both in the Milky Way and in countless other galaxies. But around 8 billion years ago, this growth finally began slowing down, mainly because there was no longer enough raw material to keep forming new stars. Then, around 7.5 billion years ago, something extraordinary happened far away from our galaxy. The Tiamat explosion. The blast spread across the universe, and it wasn't until 2008 that its light reached Earth. Such explosions usually occur when a star becomes a supernova, spectacular event. But this one was the farthest and brightest ever observed. Had it been as close as the Sun, it would have shown 21 trillion times brighter. That's the number 21, followed by 15 zeros. Events like this occurred in distant regions of the cosmos, while the universe continued cooling at an accelerating rate. Around 7.2 billion years ago, the average temperature of space was 268 grados bajo cero, only a few degrees warmer than today's minus 270 degrees Celsius. Eventually, the universe will reach absolute zeroth temperature at which atoms stop moving. Space will become completely dark and silent, but that moment is still incredibly far away. Fast forward to 6.5 billion years ago, the Milky Way finally exhibited a distinct spiral shape. It wouldn't be long before a solar system formed, but much still had to happen first. Older galaxies had already achieved familiar shapes, and stars continued to form and explode, creating quasars and black holes. These black holes would then help form new galaxies. Around 6 billion years ago, dark energy, the most mysterious force in the universe, somehow began accelerating cosmic expansion. No one knows how it works, but we do know gravity is no longer the only force shaping the cosmos. Beyond that, nothing about dark energy is certain. 5.5 billion years ago, the solar nebula began to collapse. This is important to us, because that nebula would eventually become our solar system. At the time, it was just a massive cloud of interstellar gas and dust. It would take another billion years for the material to combine and form our sun and the planets orbiting it. Meanwhile, the Milky Way achieved its fully formed barred spiral structure. New stars formed, supernova explode. Cosmic activity never stopped. And then, 4.6 billion years ago, something happened that changed everything for us. The sun was born. The cloud of dust and gas finally collapsed enough to form a star. Only a few million years later, Earth formed. At first, Earth was extremely hot and lifeless. But after hundreds of millions of years, a miracle occurred. The first living organisms appeared on its surface. Since then, many good and bad things have happened on Earth. But ultimately, here we are living on this rare and beautiful planet, perhaps one of a kind in the entire universe.